We've been together for 5 months, and the other day I saw a piece of mail with his real last name on it. I found his background and he used his middle name as his last. He was C. My partner and I have been in a relationship for 5 months, but everything has taken a devastating turn. Initially, I was unaware of his true last name as he had been using his middle name. However, I recently discovered his actual surname on a piece of mail he left behind. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to look into his background. What I uncovered has left me reeling in shock. It appears that he was involved in a serious incident, and a rape charge was filed against him. The lengthy investigation that followed took an entire year, resulting in the case being transferred to another jurisdiction or court. I'm still trying to process this information, but the weight of the truth is crushing me. Adding insult to injury, he's become defensive when I confronted him about withholding the truth, specifically about his true last name. His reaction has made me feel even more isolated and hurt. I'm torn between the emotions swirling inside me, and I'm unsure of how to navigate this situation. The revelation has shaken my trust, and I'm struggling to come to terms with the person I thought I knew. I'm in Ukraine and I can't believe what's happening. In the morning I heard there were explosions 2 hours from where I live. We've scraped everything we could on one bank card, but it was late because there were no cash in ATMs. We've managed to buy food for a month and came back. As I write to you from Ukraine, I'm struggling to process the unfolding events. This morning, I heard about a series of explosions happening in an area just a couple of hours away from my home. Given the situation, my family and I have made every effort to prepare for the worst by maximizing our spending on one credit card, but it was a challenge due to the limited availability of cash from ATMs. We managed to stock up enough non-perishable food to last us for a month before returning home. Now, our entire family is living in a state of constant anxiety, fearing for our very lives. Our last resort is to rely on the possibility that Romania, being a NATO member and having a border close to us at just 30 kilometers away, might send forces to our region. We're holding on to the hope that this will serve as a deterrent for any potential attack from Russia. I'm counting on a bit of luck at this point. Every time I bust a nut, by myself or with someone else, I become completely uninterested in sexual stuff, and even become a little grossed out. Kind of feels like shame? Basically, I'm not a sexual person at all until I'm horny, and then I'll do what needs to be done, and each time I reach climax, whether solo or with a partner, my libido suddenly drops, leaving me feeling detached from the act itself, even bordering on disgust. It's almost as if I'm overcome with guilt. To be honest, I'm not particularly invested in sex unless I'm in the midst of intense desire. Once my needs are met, I seem to lose all interest in the subject. Edit. I was surprised by the amount of attention this post received, but I appreciate the upvotes and comments. It's reassuring to know I'm not alone in this experience. 2020 may suck, but my dad is once again cancer-free. This year has been the worst for many people, including me. But fuck you 2020, my OL man ain't give a fuck about your bullshit. That's the post. Hope all of you guys' lives get a little brighter like mine did today. Edit. TH. No matter how dire the circumstances, I've been given another chance at a brighter future, and that's thanks to my dad being declared cancer-free. This year has been incredibly tough for countless individuals, including myself, but let's be real, 2020 can just keep on sucking. My dad, however, is unimpressed with its chaos. That's the state of things right now. Hopefully, this news brings a little more hope into the lives of those who need it. Update. I'm genuinely touched by the kind words and messages I've received. It's a wonderful thing to wake up to. Update. I'm blown away by the sheer number of comments. It's truly heartwarming to see so many people offering their support. I want to thank each and every one of you for your kindness, and I'm sure my dad appreciates it as well. You folks are amazing. I think it should be illegal for a workplace to demand a doctor's note if they don't offer insurance. Seriously, as a fast food worker, I don't want to get thousands of dollars in debt just because I don't want to cough, sneeze, and potentially spread a sickness around. Why? It's time to reconsider workplace policies on doctor's notes. As I reflect on my experience working in a fast food environment, I'm convinced that a policy shift is long overdue. I believe it's unreasonable for employers to demand a doctor's note from employees who aren't covered by their company's health insurance. If an employee is forced to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket for medical care, they'll be left with an insurmountable financial burden. Imagine having to work while sick, potentially infecting colleagues and compromising store operations, just to avoid crippling debt. It's absurd to expect workers to prioritize profits over their health and well-being. Employers should recognize that it's more beneficial for employees to take a sick day, allowing the store to operate with some inefficiencies rather than putting their employees through the agony of medical bills. The current system seems to value profits over people, forcing employees to choose between their health and financial stability. It's time for corporations to understand that taking care of their employees is essential to their success. By offering reasonable accommodations and support, businesses can foster a healthier and more productive workforce. TLDR: the policy of requiring doctor's notes from employees without health insurance is unfair and should be re-evaluated. Update: I'll continue getting rich off all my neighbors' laundry room use. I live in an older apartment building and our laundry room consists of 2 washers and 2 dryers. These machines are the old school add $1 in quarters to start type. What people don't know is the receptor that Catsy. The secret to free laundry. A profitable discovery in my older apartment building. I reside in a historic apartment complex, where our shared laundry facilities include 2 washers and 2 dryers. These machines operate on an older model, requiring the insertion of $1 worth of quarters to initiate the cycle. What many residents are unaware of is that the mechanism collecting quarters after the machines are activated remains unlocked, allowing anyone to retrieve their quarters at any time. It was only a week or so ago that I stumbled upon this hidden feature, and since then, I've been able to capitalize on it. By collecting the quarters that have accumulated, I've been able to offset the cost of my laundry, saving approximately $30. And the best part? I've been able to do my laundry entirely for free. Edit: no edit is required as the story is a standalone piece. Update: no update is required as the story has a definitive conclusion. TLDR: a resident of an older apartment building discovers that the quarter receptacle in the laundry room is always unlocked, allowing them to collect quarters and do their laundry for free, saving around $30 in the process. Black people contribute equally to the continuation of racism. I'm black, they do it in a very subtle way, making unnecessary things about race, teaching their kids not to trust whites. Joking about white people. Yes, white have done some foul shit, but it's really awful payo. Individuals of African descent, including myself, inadvertently perpetuate racism through subtle actions. They often unnecessarily inject racial undertones into conversations, instruct their children to be cautious around people of a different racial background, and engage in humor that may be perceived as mocking those from a white demographic. While it's true that some white individuals have engaged in reprehensible behavior, it's essential to recognize that their actions are those of a few individuals, regardless of their racial identity. By portraying all white people as adversaries, despite being members of the same societal framework, we inadvertently reinforce the notion that equality does not exist. Edit: the original statement was likely intended to spark a discussion on the complexities of racism and individual responsibility. It's essential to acknowledge that racism is a multifaceted issue that cannot be attributed to a single group or individual. Update: the revised text aims to convey the same message as the original statement, while using different wording and phrasing. It emphasizes the importance of recognizing that racism is a widespread issue that affects individuals of all racial backgrounds. TLDR: this rewritten text seeks to convey the idea that individuals from all racial backgrounds can inadvertently contribute to the perpetuation of racism through their actions and attitudes. A dental office responded to my Google review with all of my information. I went to the dentist a few months ago, had a bad time, so I decided to leave a negative review on Google Reviews. My Google name is just my screen name, I don't use my legal name. The receptionist figure. A dental office left a disturbing response to my Google review, revealing sensitive details about me several months ago. I had a disappointing experience at the dentist, which led me to post a negative review on Google. I prefer to use a screen name online, and my Google profile is not linked to my real identity. However, the receptionist somehow identified me and responded to my review by using my actual first name. To make matters worse, they proceeded to discuss my insurance information in a public forum, completely disregarding my privacy. I'm concerned about the potential implications of this incident. Does this constitute a significant HIPAA violation? If so, where can I report this dental office and have them held accountable for their actions? TLDR dental office responded to Google review with my personal info, possibly violating HIPAA. Need advice on reporting this incident. Edit HIPAA violations can be reported to the Office for Civil Rights, OCR, within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Update: if you believe you've been a victim of a HIPAA violation, you can file a complaint with the OCR online or by mail. Can I sue a towing company for towing with people inside? We were at JFK Airport when my husband stopped the car to get a wheelchair for my mom, who's 75 years old, a stroke patient with half-body paralyzed. He was gone for maybe 2 minutes if that. In the car, there were 3 kids. Can I take action against a towing company for removing a vehicle with occupants inside? While waiting for my husband to obtain assistance for our 75-year-old mother, who is a stroke patient and partially paralyzed, at JFK Airport, our vehicle was unexpectedly towed away. The incident occurred while my husband was briefly away, possibly for only 2 minutes. The vehicle in question had 3 young children under the age of 5, including a 5-month-old infant, on board along with my husband and me. Unfortunately, the tow truck driver failed to inspect the vehicle for occupants before towing it, and instead hooked it up to the tow truck and lifted the front tires off the ground. The driver proceeded to drive the vehicle for a short distance of approximately 3 seconds, during which I was frantically honking the horn in an attempt to alert the driver to the presence of people inside. Edit TLDR update: AITA for what I said to my stepmom. I, 19F, would like to break into the acting industry. I'm studying business at uni in London and take acting classes on the side. All paid for by myself. My stepmom was laughing at me for taking the classes and paying for them and trying. Am I the asshole for what I said to my stepmom? I, 19F, have aspirations of becoming an actress, and I'm actively pursuing that goal by taking acting classes on the side. I'm also studying business at university in London, with both being self-funded endeavors. My stepmom found amusement in mocking my decision to take the acting classes and pay for them out of my own pocket, attempting to get a rise out of my dad. I shot back, pointing out that she might be envious because she became pregnant at a young age and never got to experience the freedom to pursue her own interests. Her smug expression instantly vanished, and now my dad is urging me to apologize for my remarks. However, I believe my stepmom's belittling of my passions was unwarranted, and I shouldn't have to apologize. Edit: this story was modified for better readability and coherence. Update: there's no update available for this story. TLDR: a 19-year-old woman is asked to apologize for her response to her stepmother's mockery of her acting classes, but she believes her stepmother's actions were unjustified and she shouldn't have to apologize. My dad called me disgusting for being on my period. I, 15F, am currently on my first period and live alone with my dad. I asked my dad at the store if I could get some pads since my period had started, and I have been using toilet paper as a substitute. On the way home he yelled. A confronting conversation. I'm a 15-year-old girl, and I've recently started experiencing my first period. Unfortunately, I live alone with my father, which has made this situation even more challenging. When I asked my dad to buy me pads at the store, I didn't expect him to react the way he did. He became agitated and took offense to the fact that I had to get pads, implying that it was something disgusting. To make matters worse, he made a point of disinfecting everything I had touched, further emphasizing his discomfort with my situation. His behavior is causing me significant distress, and I'm not sure how to deal with this situation. I feel embarrassed, anxious, and hurt by his words and actions. I'm reaching out for advice on how to navigate this difficult situation. Toxic mothers are often not held accountable for their actions. Toxic and narcissistic mothers are often not held responsible for the irreversible damage they do to their children. The emotional guilt trips, manipulation and gaslighting impact the psyche of their young minds. Daughters of toxicity. A tragic silence. Many toxic mothers are allowed to sidestep the repercussions of their hurtful actions. Mothers who are toxic and narcissistic often escape the blame for the long-lasting harm they inflict on their children. The relentless barrage of emotional guilt trips, manipulation, and gaslighting can profoundly alter the worldview of their young minds, profoundly shaping their perceptions of relationships and societal norms. As a result, the trauma they endure can persist well into adulthood, manifesting as unhealthy attachment patterns, ingrained habits, and skewed expectations. While we must recognize and celebrate the numerous positive contributions made by women in our society, it is equally essential that we confront this pressing social concern head-on. My boyfriend cut the crusts off my sandwich. He's a monster. I just opened my lunchbox that my boyfriend packed me this morning, only to find that he has cut the crusts off my sandwich. It's so fucking cute, I can't deal with it. Not even my mother paid enough attention to the crust-less conundrum. As I lifted the lid on my lunchbox, a mixture of amusement and annoyance washed over me. My boyfriend, the master of the kitchen, had taken it upon himself to alter my sandwich. Specifically, he had trimmed off the crusts. It's almost laughable, considering he managed to notice and correct my personal preference without even asking. My mom, notorious for her attention to detail, would be impressed by his consideration. However, now the balance of power has shifted, and I see this as an opportunity for a clever counterattack. Tonight, after work, I'll embark on a 40-minute journey to acquire his favorite donuts, and then I'll lovingly bestow them upon him.